Everybody ready? Appreciate everybody coming today. We have had some very good work done by the members of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department in the last 24 hours that we wanted to share with you. I have updates on two cases. Speaking about the first robbery series that we had where we made some significant arrests is Sergeant Brian Scharf over the robbery unit. Also, Officer Jonathan Brito in the Independence Division is also going to speak, kind of give you some background on how it is that we were able to locate the suspects and take them into custody. And then Sergeant Daryl Price, who's over the cold case unit, is going to give an update on a cold case sexual assault arrest that we made. So starting off is Sergeant Scharf. Sarge, appreciate it.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here again. Again, like Lieutenant Koch said, we just want to talk about some really good work done on another series of robberies that started on November 24th. We had a robbery go out on November 24th where a victim was carjacked. Of course, patrol responded to it, did what they do it there. Did a really good report, got a really good description of the suspects. We had another robbery occur where the description of the suspects was very, very similar. It was a carjacking also. It was about a day later. And then we had a third robbery go out where the description was very, very similar in all three robberies. We were able to, in that third robbery, the victim was able to get some information about a vehicle that the suspects were driving and that we did not have prior to this particular robbery. We were able to put that information out to patrol. Division detectives did a really nice job of getting that information, putting it out to patrol, figuring out it was a stolen vehicle. And then patrol officers just, did what they do when they're asked to do something. And I'll just turn it over to them and let them tell you guys what they did from that point.
Afternoon. Name is Jonathan Brito, part of the crime reduction unit. Yesterday we had roll call, normal roll call. They told us vehicles that we were looking for, one of them being the white Kia Optima. We were told that it had front end damage and it was possibly 3 black males and a black female with red hair. We began saturating the area, our known areas. When we finally came in contact with the white Kia Optima, we then notified helicopter, had them switch over. Helicopter then was heading towards us. We continued to follow the vehicle. Once helicopter was close by, we went ahead and initiated a traffic stop, at which point the vehicle fled from us. We began pursuing the vehicle down Eastway Boulevard, or Eastway Drive, sorry, and took a couple turns into the neighborhood, and finally the vehicle crashed into several vehicles, and all of the occupants fled the vehicle, at which point pursuit took place, and we were able to actually capture 5 of the subjects that were that fled from the vehicle.
Has to be energizing and at the same time rewarding when you're able to make something like that. Officer Brito, right?
It was.
Was it? Tell me about how do you keep control and at the same time keep focused and be safe all at the same time?
Well, it was more of a group effort. Good thing we had several resources like K9, helicopter. Helicopter made everything a lot easier, so all we had to do was concentrate on following the vehicle. Helicopter was calling everything out and letting all the other officers that were actually on scene, letting them know which location we were heading to and where to be.
Were all 5 suspects involved in the actual carjacking, or were they just some of them along for the ride?
That I couldn't advise.
No, just 3 of the suspects were involved in the carjacking.
And were they male or female?
One was a female, 2 were males.
And where did these carjackings happen?
Slide in here, brother. Thank you. One was in, 2 were Well, one carjacking was in Eastway Division, one was in Independence Division, and then there was a separate persons robbery in Independence Division. So 2 in Independence, 1 in Eastway. Now, let me say that in one of the cases they have not been charged yet, but we strongly suspect that they are responsible for it.
We reported on it was this Central Avenue and W.T. Harris, for those 2 of the streets. They just want to make sure, see if there's one.
Yes, in that area. In that area, yes.
And could you detail that a little bit more as far as how these would they carjack somebody, take the vehicle, then dump the vehicle, then move on to another one? Like, how did that all work out?
Yeah, that's basically exactly what they did. They would just, it was almost a thrill just to get in somebody's vehicle, point a gun at them, and take their vehicle and other belongings. And, in one case, it became very, I don't want to say very violent, but could have become very violent at one point.
What were these victims doing at the time they were?
One was, I think they were both just coming out of stores, getting into their vehicles when they were approached.
Was one of the suspects like the ringleader or more active in these robberies than the other?
It would be difficult to say. I don't believe so. If I had to say one was the ringleader, I'd say it was probably the female.
Is that unusual?
It is a bit unusual, but it's becoming more and more usual.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
We'll have a press release that'll detail the names of the individuals that were arrested, the charges that they're faced, as well as the report numbers.
Could you spell the officer's name?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Jonathan Brito, Brito. And then Sergeant Brian Scharf, Scharf.
Which division is Brito?
He's in the Independence Division, where 2 of the 3 robberies occurred, and the third one was in the Eastway Division. All right, so our second half of the conference today, we're going to be discussing a cold case sexual assault arrest that was made yesterday on a 1995 case. And speaking on that is Sergeant Darrell Price, who's over the sexual assault unit. Sergeant Price.
Back in 1995, a young lady, 17 years old, was walking home from work at about 6:30 in the evening. She was taken and dragged behind a building, 4800 block of North Tryon Street at knife point, where she was sexually assaulted. That case was worked back in 1995. The sexual assault kit was examined, but in 1995 there was no CODIS, there was no DNA, so it was basically serology, ABO typing. That case was picked up by Detective Owens and during part of a SACI grant. Everybody's familiar with all the grants we've worked on, where we were allowed to test previously tested kits that were tested prior to DNA. So this is one of the cases that was tested under that SACI grant. A DNA hit was obtained on Christopher McNear, and you'll be sending out this as well. So his details will be in the press release. Mr. McNear, the warrants were signed on him on Monday. He was arrested yesterday by our VCAT unit, and that's pretty much the details of that case.
1995, you had contact with the victim, I would assume she's still with us?
Yes.
Yes. Can you, without revealing anything that's personal, she obviously has to be very relieved.
Yes, I believe she's very relieved that this person who attacked her over 20 years ago is now in custody.
What were the circumstances of the sexual assault? How old was she at the time?
She was 17.
What happened?
We don't give details on just, we don't want to go into graphic details as to what occurred.
Like, was she walking in a park?
She was walking down North Tryon Street. She had just gotten off work. She was walking home. She lived nearby. He grabbed her off of North Tryon Street. If you know that area, that's a little north of, I think they still call it Asian Corners. It used to be Tryon Mall. Tryon and Sugar Creek, so it's about 3 blocks north of there. Lots of buildings, lots of industry, so she was taken behind one of the buildings where she was assaulted.
Random?
I'm sorry.
I was just wondering if it was random.
Yes.
Do you have a history of cases like this, other churches?
What do we know his history yet?
He's a registered sex offender.
Yeah, so yeah, registered sex
He
offender.
was at the time this happened?
No.
No, but because of his history, you get put into CODIS, the national database, so he had committed some crimes to where it allowed them to enter his DNA into the database.
So he had committed other offenses after this one?
Yes.
That connected him to this?
Yes.
accident?
Yes, absolutely.
Is he being cooperative in this case, or in any of the other cases?
We don't discuss whether people confessed or anything like that, but he's in custody, and that's about as much as I can say about that.
How much does this show the importance of testing rape kits, the results that can come?
Well, it's extremely important, and that's why we in Charlotte have taken the initiative to get grant funding to go back and retest cases that were tested prior to DNA, so that most of us have been doing this a long time. You used to test a rape kit, and you would get whether the person's blood type was A or B or AB, which doesn't narrow it down to anyone. So we know right off the bat that we have something, and we also know that it's usually a stranger case. So it's letting us test more than almost 700 partially tested kits or previously tested kits.
And sorry, did you say he was in custody at the time already, or was
He's in custody today.
But was he when you discovered that he was connected to that case?
No,
So he was
he was out. Yeah,
potential danger to the community.
absolutely.
I don't know, Daryl, if you could talk to his reaction, his response, without saying what he said, or, I mean, he probably thought he was inadequate.
I can say he wasn't expecting this. Much more than that, I can't really speculate or go into detail what he was thinking.
How recently has he, and this may be since he's a registered sex offender, but how recently has he committed another offense?
Unfortunately, I do not have his arrest history in front of me, so I can't answer that question. We could certainly get you that answer. We can get that to you in some fashion.
All right. Thank you, Sarge.
Thank you.
This is just one example. We've talked to you guys numerous times over the last several months on sexual assault in our unit and our cold case unit, and this is just another example of the outstanding work done by those individuals in that unit, and to never give up and to always fight for the victims. So we will have 2 different press releases that we'll share with you about the robbery series as well as this recent arrest. I appreciate everybody coming today and hope you all have a great night. Thank you very much.